All right, beautiful. Well, happy Sunday. This is the Father's Day edition, and I'll be the host tonight, Peyton Parneg. We're going to hear from Kevin Goldberg in just a little bit here, and it's going to be short and sweet, but hopefully we're going to give you, there's going to be three parts to this call. So first of all, there's going to be a concept that I've been thinking a lot about that's super, super important. So if you are in a position where you are looking to grow something that is meaningful to you in your life with this business, then you're going to have to mull this around a little bit. And one thing I heard this week that is so valuable that I thought about is I said, it's, the reason that we do these calls that, a lot of people say like, oh, it's accountability. A lot of people say, oh, it's motivation, but it's even more than that. It's the same reason why we read. And the thing to think about is that if we look at the last 5,000 years, 3,000 years, 100 years, there's been so many brilliant minds that have come before us. And when you take the time to read, you wind up getting to spend some time with the thought processes that made those people, right? And why is this so important? Because there's a truth that basically says that our current level of thought has gotten us to exactly where we are right now. So, one of the ways that Kevin and I very early on when we were in our young 20s, we started to look at a way to measure and to evaluate our lives is that we would have these notebooks and we would sit down together and we would make these columns and we would break it down and we'd say, hey, what are the different elements? What are the different pillars of life that really matter, right? Because it's like we're only here for a short time. And hopefully we want to live in a way that is enriching to us. We want to live in a way that's enriching to the people that are around us. And if we are lucky enough, we want to leave enough of an impact that, maybe we can make the difference for somebody beyond us. And what we would think about is that we would think about, look, these different pillars that most people share in their lives, what you choose to do in each of these pillars is going to be different, but everybody in some capacity, whether or not these are your primary focuses, you're going to experience life in a spiritual plane. You're going to experience life in a physical plane, right? In a physical body. You're going to experience life in a mental plane. You are going to experience life in a economic plane. And that's going to be, unless you basically move to a remote island and, relinquish yourself to trade and barter and maybe, get rid of your citizenship, you're going to be playing in an economic game one way or the other, regardless. And so then what's interesting about that is that begs the question that, are many people getting the results that they want in their life? Are many people walking around in their body feeling and looking the way that they want? Are many people walking around feeling like they have a relationship with the higher being that they feel grounded in, that they feel connected, inspired by, that they trust, that they can look for inspiration, for support, right? Or are they kind of aimless, right? And are people in charge of their mind, right? Like how many people are living in a way where they are reacting to what is happening on social media, reacting to what is happening on constantly negative news, CNN, reacting to what is happening, whatever is happening at their town hall, reacting to whatever parent did what at the, high school soccer or football game. And how many people are really in a place where they are at peace in their mind and they are choosing to respond to what is happening and in a way that is compelling and, arguably responsible and confidence inspiring. And the truth is, unfortunately, is that if you kind of run up and down that spectrum, not many people are maybe getting the result that they want. So what does this have to do with books? And what does this have to do with tonight? Well, when we take the time to start to read books, I'm talking about nonfiction books, maybe autobiographies or books about business, books about concepts, whether or not we agree with the beliefs that we read about, or whether or not we adopt those as our very own, what it allows us to do is it allows us to spend time in our thoughts with the thoughts of great people that have come before us, and we can learn from them and we can reflect and so forth and so on. So that really brings me into, concept number one of what we're going to talk about tonight. And so over the last 15 years, I've been involved in many different entrepreneurial endeavors. I've been involved always in business models and plans that have what we call unlimited upside. And so, many different vocations or careers or job paths have a limit to what they can earn. In fact, if you meet with a high school guidance counselor, most people are talking about what do you want to become? Then they talk about what the pay range is for that, profession. And then people start to think about, okay, what kind of life can I live if I what kind of life can I live if I make 80,000 a year or 98,000 or 62,000, right? And that's really how the majority of the masses are doing it. And so I've been in this environment with, a number of different models where there's unlimited upside. So you'll see people that are making literally no money at all. They're so bad. They generate zero commissions or they generate zero revenues. And in the same type of business, you'll have people that are earning $1 million a month, right? So you'll see people that are earning massive, extraordinary income. We're talking more than $1,000 an hour every hour of the day, whether you're sleeping or whether you're not. And so I started to think to myself, what is actually making the difference out there when we're talking about economics and personal economics? And what I started to think about is that there are two things that limit people dramatically in where they're ultimately going to go with their economics. And the first one is whatever your relationship subconsciously is with money. So it's not that hard to figure out, but if you ever grew up anywhere in the world and you were a kid and you asked, your mom for an ice cream cone or maybe a pair of sneakers or a skateboard or something, it was not uncommon to hear, what do you think I'm made of? Money. Or it would say, hey, money doesn't grow on trees, right? And, oftentimes they would say, hey, if you want money, why don't you get a job, right? And these are things that are so ingrained in our subconscious that our parents and our parents' parents and our parents' parents taught us. And then sometimes you'll hear other things that are limiting beliefs around creating wealth. So it's like, you've heard that like only criminals get rich, right? Or you'll see, he was a greedy rich person, right? There's all these negative connotations about it. And so one of the things that I've learned is that if you don't have a positive association with creating wealth, with creating abnormally large amounts of money, your subconscious brain will not allow you to move forward in a way that you can do that you can generate that. It will sabotage you in any number of different ways. So the first thing is that whatever your relationship with money is, it's worth taking some time to start thinking about what are the things you've heard about money. When somebody talks about somebody making a lot of money, what does it do inside of you? Does it make you feel envious? Does it make you feel critical? Does it make you point fingers? Does it make you wonder if they were a good person or if they did something wrong? And there's a great thing that says, whatever you think about, you bring about, right? So if you're constantly stressed and thinking about debt, or if you're constantly stressed and criticizing somebody that's making a lot of money, it's going to be very difficult for your subconscious brain to allow you to create the type of expansion that you want. So that's the first part. The second thing I started to think about, as I said, if you look at it, if you are over the age of 30 in America, you have at least 10 years of working years behind you. Many people have almost 20, right? But let's say that you're 30 years old, you got 10 years behind you. So it does not matter how old you are, whatever age you are, like right here, you can think about the 10 years that came before you. And I started to think about this. This was a thought that was born from a great book by somebody who's created massive generational wealth. He said, what is the difference between somebody that over the last 10 years made $1 million, which we hear $1 million and sometimes we can think, wow, that's a lot of money. But, somebody that earned $50,000 a year on salary, $1,000 a week on salary, over 10 years, they'll make $1 million. So so suddenly you can go from $1 million and then you think, okay, well, 50K a year. Okay, well, 4,000 a month. It's really interesting how those are all the same thing, but they all mean something different in our brains. That's a good thing to estimate, right? So what's the difference between that person, the person that made 2 million over the last 10 years? So the person that's at that coveted $100,000 per year mark, right? And then what's the difference between those two people and the two people who made 5 million over the last 10 years and 10 million over the last 10 years, respectively? And what I thought it came down to three things. And now what's so beautiful about these three things is that these three things alone are something that each and every one of us, no matter where we're starting from today, can have control over. It's not about luck. It's not about happenstance. It's not about the lottery. It's not mystery. It's none of those things, right? It's these three things, and they go in this order, in my opinion. The first one is work ethic. Now, what's so interesting about work ethic is that most people pride themselves on having good work ethic. And the truth is, in my opinion, is that if you go to a job 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, like most people all around the world do, but most people in America do, you probably have pretty good work ethic. And some people laugh and they say, oh, 40 hours a week. I remember my first part-time job. But think about how many people in America have tremendous work ethic, and yet each and every month there's too much month at the end of the money. They don't drive the car that they want. They don't live in the zip code they want. They don't vacation where they want. They don't plan for retirement. They don't develop assets. They don't do any of those things, right? So it's not just work ethic, because if it was just work ethic, landscapers would be balling outrageous lawnmowers, and some of them are, right? But that gets me to the next point, which is when you combine work ethic with now skills, right? So how many people, and think in your own personal life, whatever vocation or whatever business that you're in, how many people do you know who are constantly growing and learning and reflecting and learning new skills and learning new techniques and refining and honing and studying outside of the time that they're actually working, so that they can be more effective, so that they can be better communicators, they can be better salesperson, they can be better managers, they can be better leaders, they can be better, tech operators. Like how many, and if you think about all types of different things, engineers that tend to have more designations and continued education, they wind up usually advancing and working on bigger projects, which ultimately pay them more money, right? Same thing happens in construction management. Same things happens in so many different realms. So now you have work ethic and you have, skills. But still, how many people that you can think of are really good at their job and they work all the time, but yet they don't drive the car that they want. They don't live the zip code that they want. They don't take the vacations that they want. They aren't building assets. And are they really getting out of life what they really, really want? Which brings me to the third part. What are those people doing that are driving supercars? Not the people that, maybe they have a really nice car, but they live in an apartment. That's like half of Los Angeles, right? People in an $80,000 Range Rover renting an apartment. But it's like, I'm talking about the people that have it all, right? They're living in a way that's inspiring. They're contributing to their community. They're building assets. They're growing their asset column. They're taking vacations. They're, growing with their family, and they're also driving cars that they like. And maybe they're into boats or airplanes or trips, or, they're, and chances are, if you're on social media, somebody that's living like that, right? And it comes down to this. It comes down to how much leverage exists in whatever you're approaching and whatever business you're working in. How much leverage? So if you look at the people that have the 5 million over 10 years or 10 million over 10 years, then ultimately they have three things. They have great work ethic, they have great skills, and they have leverage, massive leverage. So let's just look at leverage for 1 second. I'll finish with one more thought and then we'll pass it to Kevin so that he can bring us home. But there's different ways to get leverage. Simply put, this is the most simple way to look at leverage. Leverage is higher paying opportunities. That's it. So how do higher paying opportunities happen? Well, you can move into a business where it just simply does more revenue, right? You can just grow something bigger. You can go into something where it's highly specialized, right? Like if you look at surgeons, there are surgeons that specialize in certain types of surgery that is more high paying than other types of surgeons. So they have work ethic, skills, and more leverage because they're in specialization. And then let's look at, somebody that maybe sells bicycles. They might be able to earn a certain amount of money, but then you have the person that sells cars. Well, a car probably costs more than a bicycle. So it is, easy to understand that maybe there's more margin there. So, and then you think about maybe houses after that. And then you think about, well, what's more expensive than houses? It meant maybe airplanes. So, if somebody's really good at selling and they work hard and they learn each one of those things, who arguably is going to probably make more money? The guy who's selling $1 million airplanes or the guy who's selling $5,000 bicycles? Well, I'd be willing to bet that the $1 million airplane salesperson is making more money, right? And then there's one more kind of leverage. And this is the most important kind. If you look at the people that have the money, but they also have the lifestyle, they have leverage over a system that can run without them. They have leverage over a business that can create profit regardless of if they work more hours or work less hours, that can reach different people, different states, different customers, different countries. and they start to generate profits that not only can pay them the kind of money that we're talking about, but that can also, of course, give them the time freedom, because those surgeons that are making really, really, really high rates are still in the OR 60 hours a week. And I'm not against that. There is a chapter in each and every single one of our lives where we have to burn the candle at both ends. We got to get stuff built. Entrepreneurialism is not for the faint of heart. It is not easy. It takes a tremendous will. It takes focus, right? It takes following one course until successful. But if you're thinking to yourself, okay, whatever happened in the last 10 years, in the next 10 years, I sure would like to point myself at being somebody that gets in maybe that 5 million over 10 years or 10 million over 10 years, or maybe even more, rather than continuing along the road that did the 2 million or the 2,000,004 or the 1,000,006 or whatever that was. And so what it's going to come down to is this: it's going to come down to work ethic. I believe you already have that. It's going to come down to skills. And that's going to be your willingness to study and to learn and to reflect and to grow and to improve yourself, right? And then the last part is, of course, getting massive leverage. So with that being said, we're going to turn it over to Kevin here. And I want to add this last caveat, which is when you start to get into self-employment or entrepreneurial endeavors, or you start to build your own business, it's really, really easy to confuse being busy with being productive. And so one of the things that a lot of times I've seen happen, and it's happened to me, is that you can look back over time and you can think to yourself, wow, I've been really busy. I've worked so hard. My work ethic has been great in the business, but you're measuring it by the wrong metric. You're measuring it by the amount of time that you feel like you spent, rather than the things that actually move the checkers forward. And Brian Tracy said one time, he said, if you're not in front of, communicating with somebody that is willing, ready, and able to purchase your product or get started with you in the business, you're not working the business. So I would invite you to say, whether you're on day one or week one or year one or year 10, ask yourself the question of, how many hours a week am I in front of somebody that is ready, willing, able, and could buy this particular product if I can explain the benefits to them or the opportunity to get started, and start measuring your work ethic by that. And then I'm going to kick it to Kevin here, and he's going to bring us home.
Oh, thank you, Peyton. That is so good. That's so good. I take everything that I just received and I think, gosh, if you talked about what he talked about with work ethic and then skill and then leverage, but we did it backwards to bring it home and do it short, I would say leverage. The little asterisk would be like, I think Against All Odds has one of the best leverage opportunities that I've seen in a long time, because I've seen how fast 3x3 can grow. And if everyone's going 3x3 to get to 300 a month with $89 a month in orders with a bag to drink and a bag to share, it's like, okay, step one, buy some greens. Okay, we do that, check. Get some for you, get some to share. 89. That's not even $100. That's great. That's like totally doable for just about anybody. And if that's what it costs to do business, oh my gosh, right? 89. And then you get 3 to make $100. And then you help those 3 get their $100, which is like your initial investment plus some shipping and stuff. So you're break even. It's like, get some greens, then get your money back. In that way, commission wise, help those 3 people do that. You've got 300 a month as everyone continues to order. Continue buying the greens. It's like we're talking leverage. If 3x3 continues on, that's like $600,000 a month in matrix pay. If the matrix is filling up at 2 bags a month, that could happen really fast. And if only 10% of that happened, that's like 60,000. That's a lot of money. That can absolutely happen. I cannot think of better leverage than that. I remember when I was waiting tables at the beginning of my career in this type of business, and I worked a double shift and I barely got time to eat lunch because we got busy in the afternoon. I worked so hard, but I had a pocket full of money I made in tips. And I got off the phone, and my upline, the guy above me, was working with 2 or 3 guys that were underneath me, and they had done a couple meetings at a person's house and another person's house at the same time. And all these people were signing up, and everyone was so excited. And I looked in my back office, and I had made more money in commissions from the meetings that happened without me there that my upline did for me. And that happened while I was waiting tables doing a double. And I just really fully understood and encapsulated the leverage when that happened. And what ultimately happened was I started to make what I'd make in a week at my job, and then in a month at my job, for a week in my side business. And I quit because I couldn't work anymore. And I haven't worked since. And that was like 15 years ago or something ish, maybe 13 years ago. And so I think leverage against all odds is leverage. It's like, what do we do? What do we do? That's the skill part, right? What skills do you need to develop to be successful at against all odds? And it's like, well, simply, it's like, get good at exposing the business to people. What does that mean? Well, you ask the right questions and care about them. I always say that you have to care about the people. If you care about the person, you like, do they want, we have 3 resources in this life. We got money, we got time, we've got health. In the last month, 2 of my friends had people close to them die of heart-related illness. Peyton and I went to one of the funerals. Like, that person wasn't drinking our product. Is it too soon to bring that up? I don't know. I mean, but if everybody was drinking it, they'd probably be alive. That's real. I don't know how more hardcore. It's like, okay, I had a regimen in my life that I would take and make a spinach smoothie with like a bunch of nasty powders in it and some protein. And I'd take a handful of different supplements, and I'd like a mouthful of vitamins. I'd drink it all down. There's like fish oil, multivitamins, probiotics, prebiotics. I had all this stuff. And I'd take all these pills, and then I'd have to adjust to it. And I'm drinking this super thick, disgusting protein shake that I had to put a banana in to make it taste better. And that was my routine. So I'd know that my body got what it needed that day. And now I just put a stick in some water on the go. And then I take like 2 pills, and I've got everything. Like, it's simplified it. It's cheaper. It's like better. It makes sense. It's like, why didn't everybody take it? Why isn't everyone doing this? You want to learn one skill? Learn the skill of asking questions, the quality of your relationships, the quality of the questions you ask other people. Ask questions that get them to open up, that get them to understand, to see if there's a need in the time category, the money category, or the health category. And we have something for them in all those. This is the best leverage for them to get time. They need money. This is a great way to make a little money or a lot of money. And it's very simple. There's so many different ways you could do it. So it's like, okay, on the skills I would learn, or skills I would suggest, get really good at testing, not guessing. Test people. That's an incredibly good one to do. People love that. It's fun. Share product with people. That's so powerful. Test strips, like, everybody wants to do that. And then share product with people. You can send it in the mail. You can give it to a stranger. In the wintertime here, we put bottles of water in the car, share them with people. It's too hot in the summer. I don't have the bottles of water, but I give sticks. It's not the same thing. Share product with people. Hey, I'm going to send some samples in the mail. What's your address? They get excited. I'm going to send you a video so you know what I'm sending you. That's it. Simple. Share videos, share links, share an idea, send people to the Facebook group. Get good at these skills of like connecting people to information, sharing ideas, helping them test. It's like, we buy greens, we drink greens, we get paid then by sharing that. So we share it, we get paid when greens sell. That's very simple. You get 3 who get 3, you got $300 a month. Do it again, you got $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month to change most people's life. Just continue to help people do that. Add everyone into the Facebook group, hop on these calls, and get some more product and share it with people. That's literally what we do. Those are the skills. And then my last question, and how I'll close, is the work ethic. What do you want? What are you willing to do for what you want? Is it a durable dream? Is it just a pipe dream? Is it real? If you don't know what a durable dream is, go back to the episode on that. That's a fire one. That it's a question of what you want and what you're willing to do. Because at the end of the day, when you go to sleep at night and you do the well, I don't know if you do what I do, but like, you go to the bathroom and you like brush your teeth and you're like, kind of look at your face, and I like look at myself to square up for the day. And when I look at myself and I square up for the day, I'll know how many people I shared the business with. I'll know how many conversations I had. I'll know where I fell short that day. I'll know all those things. And I'm like, at the end of the day, did I care? And I'm like, yeah, more or less, like, and I'm like, did I do my best? I'm like, yeah, more or less. And it's like, what do you want? Because I know what I want, and I'm going after my goals every single day. And it's like, your work ethic will determine where you are in 10 years from now. It's like as Michelle says, your self accountability is like where it is, because you have to look you in the face. That's it. At the core of all of this, that's it. It's like, you're the one that's here because you saw something, you felt something, you like there was something here. You're here because of that. Whether or not you succeed with this in your definition, you're successful because you're right here, right now. That's alignment. The way that this all goes from here is up to you. So this week, I would challenge you to share the business like one time a day with someone. And then if you're feeling frosty sometime this week and you want to go blast, 10 or 15 people you want to send some product to, 10 or 15 people you think would be good at the business. Send a video out. I love that video that we made that's on the playlist in the YouTube channel. Make $300 from your phone or something like that. That's a good video, I think. Share that with like 10 people. We're going to have the Facebook group here soon. I appreciate you all being on the call tonight, and I hope you guys have a good week. And if you're catching the replay, have a good night.